Welcome everyone. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing well and getting ready for Shabbos. Exciting Shabbos this week. Always exciting to have a Shabbos. So I want to share a Rashi from the end of the Parsha, end of the double Parshios, from the sixth Aliyah of the double Parshios, or the fourth Aliyah of Metzora. This year it's the sixth Aliyah, so appropriate for today on Friday. After Tazria, Metzora goes through all different forms of tzaras, all different types of tzaras that can afflict the body and the skin and the beard and the clothing and every other spot on the human being. The beginning of Parshas Metzora tells us what exactly is Toras HaMetzora b'Yom Taharasa, exactly the process for the Metzora purifying himself. So for any of those forms of physical affliction, this is how the Metzora has to be Metzora himself. These are korbanos he has to bring, the steps he has to take, etc., etc. Whole long explanation of what that is. And then all of a sudden, when you think you're done with tzaras and all the tzaras is over and the guy is purified and it's over with, the Torah sneaks in one more form of tzaras at the very end, and that is called tzaras habayis. Tzaras that afflicts not the body or the clothing, but the home. And it says, Ki savo el ha'ar el eretz Canaan asher ani nosein lachem. Mommy's going to be home soon. Can you watch? See if mommy's coming, okay? We're going to go, yeah. When mommy comes home, we're going to go, okay? Right now, we're going to look here. You see the Torah? So it says that if you come, when I bring you to the land of Canaan, that I'm going to give you as an inheritance, V'nasati negat tzaras bebeis eretz lechuzetchem. I also will perhaps place tzaras on the homes of your possession, of your nachala, of your inheritance. So Rashi picks up on one strange thing in the pasuk, which is, aside from the fact that tzaras can afflict the home, which is an inanimate object, the strangest part is that from all the forms of tzaras we saw before, all of them happen to come upon a person. And over here, for the first time, the Torah says, "V'nasati negat tzaras bebeis eretz achuzaschem." I will place the negat tzaras in your home, as if God is going to do that purposefully. And so Rashi says, "V'nasati negat tzaras." Why would it be v'nasati? Why would God give it to us? Place it there. Besora hi lahem shanegayim ba'am aleim. This is to tell us that Negayim will come. It's not like it might happen, it might not happen. This is a Besora, it's a foreshadowing of the fact that when you come into the land, there absolutely will be cases of tzaras in your home. Why? Why would God so purposefully foreshadow tzaras? We saw all along that tzaras is a beautiful truck. Tzaras is an affliction that comes for Lashon Hara. If you incur the crime, so you're going to incur the punishment. You commit the crime, you're going to incur the punishment. Over here, it's a Besora. It's saying no matter what you do, the tzaras is going to come to your home. So there seems to be a different motivation here for tzaras, not strictly as a punishment and not strictly in response to Lashon Hara, but something else. So what's that something else? Lefi sheitninu emorim matmonim shel zahav bekiros vaseim kol 40 shana sheyusra b'midbar. The nations of Canaan placed golden treasures in the walls of their homes all 40 years that the Jewish people were traveling in the desert. They were afraid Jewish people were going to come and they were going to loot them. And so they hid all their treasures in the walls, thinking, okay, people will come in, we'll fight a war, no one will see that it's there, we'll go back to our normal life and we'll take all the treasures out. Only the Jewish people vanquished them. And they never got to go back to their homes because the Jewish people conquered the land. Yes. And what we find out later on is that when you have negat tzaras in the home, you have to destroy the home in the process of purifying from tzaras. What they would happen upon as they destroyed the homes is all these treasures buried in the walls, all these foreigners' treasures that were buried in their walls that the Jewish people would now find. It's an interesting take on Vanasati. It's a classic understanding that Chazal have of tzaras habayis. It fits very nicely with the introduction of the pasuk. This is not going to happen to a house in Chutz La'aretz, in Silver Spring, in the Midbar. It's ki savo eretz Canaan. It's specifically a tzaras that's going to come when you come into the land of Canaan. And that's how it fits in with the next part of the pasuk, is that because specifically in the land of Canaan, that's where the Amorim and all the nations of Canaan buried these treasures in their homes. So that's where the tzaras is going to come. And since the house will be destroyed in the process of purification, they're going to find these treasures. But there's something else that I think is powerful about this Rashi. It's a lot to talk about in terms of the Rashi, why God would specifically afflict them, why the Amorim hid the treasures. a lot of different questions here, but there's something that struck me about the Rashi, specifically as we find ourselves kind of in the middle of yesterday being Yom HaAtzmaut and tomorrow being the actual day of Hey B'Iyar, the day of the Declaration of Independence. I think what the Rashi highlights for me is the fact that Eretz Yisrael, whether it's specifically with homes and this gold that was in the walls and Faras or something else, it alerts us to the fact that Eretz Yisrael is a place of hidden treasures. It's a place where what you see on the surface is not necessarily what lies beneath. There's more to the land and there's more to life on the land than meets the eye. And if it takes tzaras to alert us to that when we come into the land and say, oh, look, it's just a home. Now I break it down and say, wow, there's treasures inside. If that's what it takes to alert us as human beings, that not just in those homes, but in the totality of Eretz Yisrael, there's more than meets the eye. There's more treasures to find. There's more spiritual and physical layers to uncover one at a time over the course of time. Then that's what it takes to alert us to that and to kind of frame the entry to the land and hopefully a long, long, long future of continuing to discover hidden treasures, not only in physical form, but in spiritual form, in human form, in terms of our progress as a people and our nationhood and our connection to Kadosh Baruch Hu in that land as well. Wish you all a Shabbat Shalom and only smachot. We'll see you soon.
Amen.